Hello, students! Today, in our virtual science class, we are going to explore the chemical properties of acids. It's a very fascinating topic, so let's begin. Now, you might remember from your earlier classes that acids change the color of indicators. For example, blue litmus turns red. But that's just a simple test. What we want to understand today is, what do acids do chemically? How do they actually react? So, to understand this better, we will look at three important reactions. First, the reaction of acids with metals. Then, their reaction with carbonates. And finally, a very special reaction called the neutralization reaction. After that, we will do a quick recap. Okay, let's start with our first topic. What happens when an acid reacts with a metal? Let's find out through a simple experiment. So, have a look here. We are taking a test tube, and inside it we have some dilute sulfuric acid. Now, into this acid, we are going to add a few small pieces of zinc metal, which we call zinc granules. Let's observe very carefully what happens next. And there, you can see it immediately. As soon as the zinc granules touch the acid, you can see bubbles forming on the surface of the metal. Now, what do these bubbles tell us? Well, the formation of bubbles means that a gas is being produced. The question is, which gas is it? How can we identify this gas? In chemistry, we have specific tests for different gases, and there is a very simple test for this one. So to test for the gas, we bring a burning candle near the mouth of the test tube. If the gas is hydrogen, it will burn with a distinct pop sound. That little explosion, that pop sound, is the confirmation test for hydrogen gas. So this brings us to a very important general rule. Please remember this. When an acid reacts with a metal, the products are always a salt and hydrogen gas. In our example, sulfuric acid and zinc reacted to form the salt, zinc sulfate, and hydrogen gas. All right, let's move on to our second reaction now. We will see how acids react with metal carbonates. This is another very important property. For this experiment, our setup is a little different. We are taking sodium carbonate in a test tube, and we will add some dilute hydrochloric acid to it. See the delivery tube? Any gas that is formed will pass through it and into the second test tube, which contains lime water. And look at that. The moment the acid is added, there is a lot of fizzing. This rapid bubbling is called brisk effervescence. So, once again, a gas is being formed. But is it hydrogen? Let's use our test to find out. So, the gas is passed through the lime water. And as you can see, the lime water, which was clear before, has now turned milky or cloudy white. This is a very important observation. This milky appearance is the classic test for carbon dioxide gas, so we can say for sure that the gas produced in this reaction is carbon dioxide. And this leads us to our second general rule for today. Whenever a metal carbonate reacts with an acid, it produces three things: a salt, carbon dioxide gas, and water. Please make a note of this. And now for our final reaction. What do you think happens when we mix an acid with a base? A base is, in many ways, the chemical opposite of an acid. Let's see what happens. This specific reaction between an acid and a base is called a neutralization reaction. It's called neutralization because the acid and the base, well, they cancel out or nullify each other's effects. The rule for this reaction is very simple and very important. A base plus an acid will always react to give us a salt and water. It's a very straightforward reaction that you will see many times in chemistry. We have learned about three very important reactions of acids today. So before we end our class, let us just quickly summarize the main points. So what did we learn? First, acid plus metal gives a salt and hydrogen gas. Second, acid plus a metal carbonate gives a salt, carbon dioxide, and water. And third, acid plus a base gives a salt and water, and we call this a neutralization reaction. These are the three key properties we discussed. So today we have understood how acids behave chemically. This leads us to a natural next question. What about bases? How do they react? That is something we will explore in our next lesson. Thank you, students.